Hello, everybody. Welcome back to HolyBirthed. My name is Ingrid, and I am the host of this podcast. Today, I'm going to go straight into this episode of today. I know I haven't recorded in a while, but this topic came to my heart this morning, and this is not even planned. I'm telling you guys, I'm coming raw. I'm coming. I hope I'm pronouncing that word correctly. I'm really coming raw, uncooked. This is not prepared. We're about to eat this together, but it's just really been in my head. And I'm just coming with my Bible and we're just gonna talk about it. I went through, like, this week was actually very interesting for me. God has been telling me a lot, talking to me a lot about, you know, watching what I speak with my tongue. And I feel like this whole week, the way I was just feeling and the way I was just thinking about stuff, it's really been coming back to just remain positive in everything that you pronounce. And with the way everything just went for me this week, I was sitting last night. I think I was actually at work and I was just really thinking in my head, like, what is one thing that brings me back to feeling like myself? What is one thing that just brings me back to just feeling like Ingrid, feeling like me? And that one thing is literally just being in my Bible and talking about Jesus. That one and prayer. I was talking to someone. I'm not getting into the topic of today yet, but let me give a story time. I was talking to somebody a while back, and the person we're talking about what is one thing that I feel like gives me an identity. What is one thing that just I feel like I feel the most like myself when I'm doing that thing? What is one thing that I feel the most like myself? And honestly, when we were talking about that and I answered the question, for me, it was when I'm praying or when I'm praying for somebody. And yesterday that came back to me that I find myself back to just being me, like feeling like I'm standing in my identity when I am praying for someone, when I'm praying, or when I'm just lost in my Bible. And this is not just preaching, this is not even podcasting or anything. When I'm just in the Bible and really living it, like I'm really just enjoying it, like really understanding it. The Bible sometimes, it's not every time that the Bible will hits in a way because it can get complicated, but when the Holy Spirit begins to unravel the Bible to you, it's so exciting, it's very sweet. And so I just was like, with everything that happened this week, I think I need to record. I just need to record. I just need to find myself into this. I really love talking about Jesus also, and that's why I'm actually here. That's why I'm actually recording. And another word that came to me, I haven't even talked to the person who told me this, but another word that came to me is one day I was talking to a friend and we're talking about this whole podcasting thing and how it's so stressful. Like, I feel like podcasting, making it short video is way easier, but having a podcast, like you put it on podcast platform, it's a lot more work. Setting up the camera, setting up the lighting, the microphones, editing, it's way more work than just putting my phone in front of me and just recording. And the other thing that has just been on my heart, guys, is that I don't want to waste anybody's time. Every person that listens to this podcast, I don't take that for granted. I don't joke with anybody. I don't joke. We don't joke with destiny. So every single time when I stand here, I'm always like, I have to make sure I'm actually prepared. I have to make sure I'm not really joking with anybody's life. I am not coming here and transfer the wrong spirit into people because I am not taking my life serious or I am not taking the work of God seriously. And I will remember the day I was talking to my friend and I was telling her how, like, I just feel like, I was just overthinking, and I think this was even before me beginning HolyBirthed. And she said something about, like, you just have to go as yourself. And that came back to me yesterday too. Like, I have to go as myself. And I was listening to a podcast that John Maxwell recorded. And he said something about it. Whenever you are speaking, you are releasing your DNA. That's not exactly what he said, but it meant so much to me. And it's just more like you transfer your identity, you transfer who you are truly. And who you are truly cannot be faked. Who you are truly sometimes cannot be rehearsed. Like, you are just the person that you are. And I feel like that's how I just want to start coming to this place, like when I'm recording. Because I started this because for sure God was putting it on my heart. But I also started this because I just felt it in me. I just felt it as part of me. I felt it as part of me. And Holy Birthed, even before it became like a podcast name, when I was really praying for this podcast, when I was really praying for into the season where God brought me to starting a podcast, I just felt like I was becoming Holy Birthed. Like the woman that I am was just being birthed from the presence of God. But the episode of today is not really about me or anything like that. I'm actually talking about relationship goals. And what I want to say in this EP of today, I posted about that. Those who follow me on Instagram, maybe you saw that. But I posted that Boaz and Ruth will never be my relationship goal. And that's a fact. I'm just being for real. Boaz and Ruth will never be my relationship goal. You know, my pastor said something, and I've probably mentioned it, that the quality you are is the quality you attract. I don't admire the story of Boaz and Ruth. I feel like it's overrated personally for me. Like, that's just me. And I'm going to read the Bible. I hope I'll have enough time to go through it. But I feel like it's overrated. And the quality you are is the quality you attract. I don't even use the statement, I can't wait to meet my Boaz, or the statement of like, you need to meet your Boaz, because I don't believe in meeting my Boaz. I don't know if I want to meet him. I said, no, actually, that's not how it's said. People say that you need to find your Boaz or your Boaz will find you. Many times I feel like it's usually used in the context of you need to find your Boaz. Because I feel like that's how the story of Ruth was more like. But we're not gonna get there. We're gonna stick to the Bible. But I don't use the statement of finding your Boaz. I don't really like the story of Ruth and Boaz. I don't admire the story of Ruth and Boaz. There's a lot in it, but the book of Ruth is now Ruth and Boaz. And that's why it's not about the love story of Ruth and Boaz. There is more to the whole story than just that moment of them falling in love, or if we can consider that falling in love. And whatever they had. There's more to the story in the book of Ruth than just them. And that's why the focus should not just be Ruth and Boaz. Many people just know the story of Ruth, and the only focus that they focus on when it comes to the only thing that they focus on in the story of Ruth and Boaz is that Ruth and Boaz got married or whatever. Ruth came from this marriage. She was a widow and she was maybe single, struggling, alone, whatever. And then akapata bwana. She found a husband. She found a man who accepted her, loved her, even as a widow, da 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 da. All those things. But I just feel like it's not, there is more beautiful story in the Bible when it comes to love, when it comes to, yeah, I don't think Ruth and Boaz, I don't know why. I feel like the Christian culture just focus a lot on your Boaz, your Boaz, your Boaz. And many times it's your Boaz. It's never been your Ruth because, but yeah, I don't admire the story of Ruth and Boaz because I don't think it's the standard. When you study even the book of Ruth correctly, and right now, every person who's gonna talk to me about this, make sure you've read the book of Ruth. And if you have not read the book of Ruth, go read it and then we can come and talk. Don't come here with preachings. Like, I know a lot of preaching that I've talked about Ruth and Boaz, and they've used that section. And that's what I'm saying. There is a section of the book of Ruth that focus on just Ruth and Boaz. But that has been like the whole main focus of the book of Ruth. There is a lot into the book of Ruth. And when we look into Ruth mainly, Ruth is included in the Bible because she's in the genealogy of Jesus. Like, Ruth is a big woman because she is like a great grandmother of Christ. Like, she is in the genealogy of David. She is in there. So that is why Ruth is a big deal. Ruth is not a big deal because she found a man. Ha! Some people need to understand this. Ruth is not a big deal in the Bible because of the man she married. Ruth is not a big deal in the Bible because she found a man. Ruth is a big deal because she is in the genealogy of Christ. Ruth is a big deal. I was about to say that Ruth is a big deal because she was a widow and then she got saved. But it's not even just about what Ruth was going through. It's about how Christ was revealed. And that's how every situation that we face in life is about. When I face a challenge, it's not about how great and brave I am. me Ingrid into a situation. It's more about how Christ is being revealed in that situation. And so I'm going to read a couple verses just to show you why Ruth is not a woman to like, to be like, that's my love story. That's my relationship goal. Because when it comes to relationship goals, you cannot just pick one side of the story, one segment of a story, and feel like this is my goal. Because I remember, I'm just going to give an example. Pastor Mildred Kingsley, there is a preaching where she talks about how many people always say that her relationship with her husband is a relationship goal for them. But she said that many people, she doesn't understand how many people say that because she went through like a long period of infertility. She was unable to give birth. And people don't look at that moment. When you are looking at the story of someone as your goal, you also have to look through the challenge. Can you actually go through the challenge of like, this is my standard? And so for many people like, I'm never gonna say many of us. I was about to say many of us because me, I don't like the story of Ruth and Boaz. And this is my invite to you to go read the Bible. As I'm literally recording this, I'm encouraging you to go read the book of Ruth. That's literally the encouragement for today. Go read your Bible. Go read your Bible. Listen to my voice and go read your Bible. Like the story of Ruth and Boaz, when I look at the story of Ruth, if I said that Ruth is my relationship goal, that means I have something that is like roots, or I want something that is the root like roots that got me to that relationship. Because I will have to act like Ruth to get a Boaz. You have to act like Ruth to get a Boaz. There is something about you that has to be like Boaz for you to get a root. So that is why we can just say, I want the relationship, or maybe I'm just going to go back as an example. I want the relationship of Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred, and you are not like Pastor Kingsley. You are not like Pastor Mildred. There is something that they both have that attracted them together, because the quality you are is the quality you attract. There is something that Pastor Mildred did so that she can get with Pastor Kingsley, and there is something that Ruth did so that she can get to Boaz. Pastor Kingsley and this is not it. I just use that as an example. But what I'm going back to is the story of Ruth. If we talk about Ruth, me, I don't like her approach. The way she went to that relationship, please, my sisters. And I think this episode might end up just only being for the sister mainly. But as a brother, you can also listen to it. Because this Boaz that everybody wants to find their Boaz, leave that Boaz alone. Leave that Boaz alone and become the woman that God wants you to be, so that you can actually attract the person that is supposed to be yours. You know? And I'm just going to read, because for me, honestly, this episode, the main message, all that I want to share is that Ruth and Boaz are not my relationship goal. And I don't see why you should admire Ruth on that level. Or maybe you are just admiring Boaz so much and you are idolizing the idea of getting a man. When it comes to Ruth, I feel like I cannot learn from Ruth how to be a good wife. I cannot learn from Ruth how to be a good partner, spouse. Spouse is a better word. I can't go to Ruth to ask her for relationship advice. If Ruth was my friend, I'm not going to Ruth to give me relationship advice. I'm not going to Naomi, the one in the Bible, to give me relationship advice. Why? Because of what happened. When it comes to building a marriage, starting a relationship, I am not going to Ruth. Definitely not going to Naomi either. The thing that I can actually go to Ruth for, I will go to Ruth so that she can give me advice on how to be a good daughter-in-law. Because the way Ruth treated Naomi, that is a beautiful, beautiful love story between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. The way Ruth, I keep forgetting her name, the way just Ruth was treating Naomi, the way she stayed with her, that's one thing we can learn from Ruth's story. And that's from chapter 1. How to be a good daughter-in-law. How to serve your mother. And this is not just your mother-in-law, even your mother. How to serve your mother in time of trouble. How to be there for your mother in time of trouble. How to help your mother who is maybe already old getting very old in time of trouble. This, you can learn that from Ruth. That one, I give it to her. I give it to her. How to be a good fiance, how to be a good girlfriend, how to be a good, those two. I feel like those two, because her relation, for me, the reason why I don't like Ruth is the way she handled the beginning stage of her relationship. But how to be a good fiance, how to be a good girlfriend, how to, how to get a good man. Ruth is not my role model. I don't like it. I don't like. J'ai dit, I do not like it. Je n'aime pas. Pas du tout. I don't like her. But how to be a good daughter-in-law, she won on that one. The bravery that this woman also have. Just think about the fact that Ruth lost her father, her husband. Her husband died and now she was a widow, but she still had the courage to go and work. She still had the courage to go and build herself up. She didn't feel like it was over for her. She still was like, I'm gonna keep on living. When you look at Naomi on the other side, she was very like, désespérée en français. What is the English word for that? She was already desperate, or she was already like tired, hopeless. That's the right word. She was hopeless. Like, she was hopeless. She didn't have any more hope. And she even said that don't call her Naomi anymore, call her Mara, which I believe means bitter. And so she was already bitter. She was not happy anymore. Like, that was Naomi. But when you look at Ruth, this woman was brave. She was hardworking. That's another thing that we can learn from Ruth. This was a woman that was hardworking. And then this is another thing that you can learn from Ruth. She's a woman that left the pagan god. She left idolatry, and she clinged to the God of Naomi, who was Yahweh. She left all the idols. She left whatever her culture taught her. And she was like, now I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow God. This was before Christ. I have decided to follow Yahweh. And she said this. I'm going to read this one. Ruth chapter 1, verse 16, she said, but Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Do you see that part? Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. This is a daughter-in-law talking to her mother-in-law. And in another word, we can say this is a daughter talking to her mother. And she's following the steps of her mother. She's following the step of her mother-in-law. And she's saying, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. And your God will be my God. Sometimes as daughters, as women, we have to learn from our parents. We have to learn at the way that our parents cling to their God. If your mother is a praying woman, that's an attribute that you should catch up to. That is something that you should hold on to, because it is something valuable. You go there muma barabara, sorry guys, today I'm feeling like Swahili. You go there muma barabara, unaza kamata umatavia tavia wabanamuki benye awaombake, they don't fear God. It's not good. But we see Ruth here. She was even a pagan. She came from somewhere, but she accepted to cling to this new God. And she said, your God will be my God. Your people will be my people. And she followed Naomi. You see this woman, this is how, and then she stayed with the God of Naomi. It's not like some people, unakuya mubia Mungu leo, unasema, oh, dafata huu mtumishi wa Mungu, kisha après, you leave, you go somewhere else. You decide that I'm going to follow God today. I'm going to be, this man of God will be discipling me. And then all of a sudden, you literally give up and you go somewhere else. You see, this is the stuff to learn from Naomi. Forget about the relationship stuff. Forget about the relationship stuff from Naomi's story and Boaz. Forget the Boazi. Forget about it. Like, just look at the way she said, your God will be my God. And actually, when I read this verse, this is verse 16 of Ruth chapter 1. When I read this verse, it's actually the same thing that happens actually when you choose a partner. This is talking about a mother-in-law, but this is basically the same thing, because she was also married to the son of this woman. When we enter relationships, when we become married, especially women, you are literally saying, your God will be my God. Your people will be my people. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. The lesson when it comes to the book of Ruth, if you want to pick up a relationship lesson from the book of Ruth, it's not about she found a man. She found Boaz. That's it. That means I also have hope to find Boaz. No. There is more to this book than Boaz. Forget about Boaz. We are focusing too much on Boaz because some of us, we are just idolizing marriage too much. Too much, and it's not okay. It's not okay. I know marriage is beautiful and it represents God, it represents the relationship of Christ and the church. I'll never minimize marriage. But I just feel like when the focus is too much on the man, you are really forgetting that you need to build yourself. You are forgetting that it's about Christ and becoming who Christ wants me to be. And when I become who Christ wants me to be, Christ himself will attach me to the person that is supposed to be with me. Becoming will attach you to the man that is supposed to be in your life. Becoming will attach us to the person that is supposed to be with us. Becoming roots definitely is what will bring Boaz. But I don't become just because I want to be like Boaz. I want to meet Boaz. I don't become because, this is the way to attract Boaz. And I feel like many times when we read the book of Ruth, it's more like we are trying to find strategy to find a man by force. Like, Mungu Baba. Guys, why? That's not how it's supposed to be. Your God will be my God. That's literally what happened when we enter relationships, when we enter with somebody. And that's why as a man, as the head of the house, if any guy is listening to this, any brother, when a woman literally comes and clings to you, she's saying your God will be my God, your people will be my people. So you have to make sure you have a God. Because I'm not gonna, waste my time, because I do have a God. This one, Ruth, she had a God that was idols. So that makes sense. But me, who have a God who is the mighty God, who have a God who is Jesus Christ, the Lord Almighty, if your God become my God, will I still be standing in the right place? Will I still be standing in the right place? Will you still be leading me to the right place? I don't really admire the story of Ruth and Boaz. I don't believe this story should be the standard for marriage, the standard for how you build a relationship as a woman. I'm going to repeat that because that's actually the thing. The story of Ruth and Boaz is not the standard of how you build a relationship as a woman of God. It is not. It is not. The story of Ruth and Boaz is not the way you build a relationship as a woman of God. I'm going to read. It starts. This is Naomi talking to Ruth. And she's telling her how to get Boaz. So Naomi said, I'm going to start on verse 3. Wash and put on for perfume, get dressed, then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. This story makes me mad. She said that, don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. Do you see how this advice is kind of weird? So there's more like some hiding things, like doing things. I don't know how to say. Basically, she's trying to manipulate this guy because make sure he's already finished eating and drinking. Like make sure he's already drunk. That's what she's basically advising her. That's what Naomi is saying. And then when he lied down, not the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do. I'm going to continue. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned. There was a woman lying at his feet. He didn't know that Ruth was there, lying at his feet. And then she said, I am your servant Ruth. Spread the corner of your garment over me. Spread the corner of your garment over me. Do you guys understand? Do you guys understand that this is not the woman that a Christian woman, a woman of God should look up to build a relationship? Do you guys get it? Spread You guys go read the Bible. Me, I'm just telling you guys, when we read the Bible, let's not just focus on preaching that we have heard, because preaching, they only take a segment. Go read the whole story and understand. And I'm not saying that the preachings are even wrong. No, I get the preaching. I love the preaching. I've listened to many preaching about Ruth and Boaz. But I know that Ruth is not my role model when it comes to building a good relationship. And why? Because I've read the whole story. But anyways, let's continue. And then she says, spread the corner of your garment over me. That is already red flag, Ruth. Red flag. Naomi is the one who gave this advice. You see? I'm going to go back. I'm just going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back in Ruth chapter 3. And this is Naomi advice to Ruth. And this is what she advised her what to do so that she can get Boaz. It was not, for me, it was not a very, if I use the word that they use in the Bible, noble character. It was, for a woman of God, you don't behave like this. You don't go through the corner to get a man. You don't go in the dark to get a man. You don't go to a man when he's drunk so that he can like you. You don't do that as a woman of God. You don't do that. I don't know, me, I stand with the Bible, so if there's anybody else who does kind of stuff like that, yeah, you can do it, but when it comes to you being a woman of God, it doesn't match. That is not how it's done. That is not the standard. And he says, wash your feet, put on perfume, get dressed in your best clothes, then go down to the threshing floor. Don't let him know you are there. Don't let him know you are there. You guys see how much Ruth and Boaz story is not really. Ruth should not be your woman of God that you look up to when it comes to relationship. Ruth should not be the woman of God you look up to when it comes to relationship. Until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, notes the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. Uncover mtoto wa watu and lie down. Uncover him and lie down. Woman, this type of behavior, this type of I don't know the word that I want to use. I don't know if it's the right word to use, but this type of foolish behavior, this type of dirty behavior, this type of it's not sounding fine. It's not sounding correct. But anyways, and then he says, in the middle of the night, something startled the man. And I jumped on verse 8, Ruth chapter 3, verse 8. And there was a woman lying at his feet. So this is now Boaz waking up and realize that Ruth is lying at his feet in the middle of the night. Mind you, Boaz was drunk. And that was the strategy that Naomi gave her so that she can catch this man. This one, let me stay in English. The reason why I feel like I keep going back to Swahili as I'm talking about this story, because it makes me mad. It bothers me. And I don't know if I can really be annoyed very well in Swahili, in English. I don't know. Because how, as a woman of God, this is Naomi. Naomi is the one that I'm blaming, because that's why I'm saying this woman cannot be your standard. For who? For Ruth. I keep forgetting her name. For Ruth, it makes sense maybe why she followed the advice of her mother-in-law. She was new to all this thing, and she's the one who followed the God of somebody. But if we continue, and this is just to show you guys that Ruth is not the standard. That's why we have to understand what Christ said concerning us. We have to understand what God wants for us when it comes to relationship, and we have to read the Bible carefully. We continue, and then the Bible says in verse 9, I am your servant Ruth. She said, spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are my guardian redeemer. You are a guardian redeemer of our family. And then she says, spread the corner of your garment. You guys get that? Spread the corner of your garment over me because you are my garment. You are the guardian redeemer of my family. Basically, he's the one that was even basically supposed to marry her since the other brother died. But the way she was doing it, it was not in the right way. The way she was doing it going in the dark, making sure the man is drunk. How is that godly for a godly woman to do? And I don't know if there's anybody else in this generation, in Generation Z, you know, because of Minister Dunson, I don't really say Gen Z a lot. I say it, but every single time I say Gen Z, I also go back to Generation Intimacy. Any person who has an intimacy with God, you don't behave like this. You don't try to catch people's sons or daughter in the dark. You don't try to attract a person through their weakness because you saw that he was drunk, you saw that she was drunk, and then that's when you're trying to catch her and you call yourself man of God, woman of God. That's not how things work. That is not how things work. You try to lie to people so that you can get to them with them in a relationship. That is not like a behavior of a woman of God. That is not a behavior of a man of God. But anyway, let's say my point, the one I just want to say, my main point, Boaz and Ruth, they are not my relationship goal. And I'm maybe telling you to, they shouldn't. But it will be up to you to decide. So we continue. And Boaz replied later on in verse 11, all the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. You know, he told her that. And I'm pretty sure he had to remind her that people know that you are a woman of noble character. You can be doing these things. We're not doing this. I'm not spreading my garment in the darkness. And this thing, I'm telling even myself too. I cannot be people know, everybody know me on social media. I am a woman of noble character. But in the dark, I go out there, telling some people, can you spread the garment? This is Bible, guys. I'm staying in the book of Ruth, you guys, as role model. Because she's not my role model for me. I'm not looking for no Boaz. And I don't know if Boaz is looking for me too. Because for me, I'm no Ruth. I'm not a Ruth. But anyways, I don't follow bad advice. That's what I'm saying. By saying I'm not a Ruth, I don't follow bad advice. Like the one that Naomi gave to her. But anyways, so she said that they know that you are a noble character. When you are known as a woman of noble character, make sure you are also a woman of noble character off stage, off the light, when the lights are off, when you are not on the stage, when you are not speaking to a big crowd, when your family are not present, when your siblings are not present, when your mother is not present, when your father is not present, you have to remain that woman of noble character. I cannot just be a woman of noble character on HolyBirthed. I cannot just be a woman of noble character when I'm leading praise and worship. That is not what I'm supposed to be. You are supposed to be a woman of noble character. Don't fool people because there are people looking up to you. There are people looking up to you. And Boaz told the Ruth, you are a woman of noble character. You don't be asking man, can you spread your whatever. Anyways, I'm mad. Because you don't do stuff like this. And then verse 14. So she lay at his feet until morning, but go up until morning, but go up before any, but got up, sorry, but got up before anyone could be recognized. And he said, no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. So you see how this thing was more like low key, like bitu ya mugiza, like kulikuwa kagiza. Things were being done in the dark. That's the issue. And this story, this part that I just read in the book of Ruth and Boaz, this is why I don't believe that she should be a role model when it comes to love, when it comes to how to build a relationship. And I don't even think that was the message that when the book of Ruth was written, that's what we had to understand from it. There is more to the book of Ruth. And I get it, there's that part of God can rewrite a story, but I don't want God to rewrite my love story like this. That I have to go in the dark, that I have to Ima love mateso. It's not the portion of any daughter of God. Just doing all this just to find love, it's not what God wants for you. And the reason why I'm saying it's not what God wants for you or for me or for anybody, it's because of the way she handled the situation. she went in the dark, guys. She waited for the man to be drunk and spread the garment. And then when you read the whole story, you keep on reading the story of Ruth. You see the way that Boaz handled the story, like showing her, now we are not going to do this. We are going to wait. And Boaz is a good man. Boaz was a good man. Like, he was a good man. But the way Ruth did it, I don't think that's how it was. Ruth wanted to be noticed so bad. And I'm not saying, we don't know. I was not there. But for me, the way I take it, she wanted to be noticed so bad. I feel like Ruth was desperate. I feel like Ruth was desperate. And I just feel like no daughter of God should be that desperate that you have to go late at night to a man's house, to a man's place, so that he can notice you. That you have to do something out of character just for a man to notice you. That's not how it works. Even as a man, you don't have to do something out of character for a woman to notice you. You don't have to act in a manner that doesn't represent the fruit of the spirit, so that a man or a woman or a woman can accept you. If you are a man of integrity, you remain a man of integrity. If she doesn't want any man that acts like you, let them go. If she doesn't want any woman that acts like you, la vie continue. Life continues. We are not just going to settle for less. We are not just going to compromise because people don't want to honor God, you know? And that's why my God will become my God is a big thing. Your God will become my God in Ruth chapter 1, I think verse 16. That your God will become my God. My God will become my God. Your God will become my God and your people will be my people. That is a big deal. And we have to just really think about it. I feel like the Bible has more beautiful story. The Bible has a lot of beautiful story. Like for me personally, so since Ruth and Boaz are not my love story, Ruth and Boaz are not my goal. What is it then? I would say I love the story of Isaac and Rebecca. Those are my people. If we can say love story in the Bible, I love Isaac and Rebecca. And the thing that made me love the story is when you just see the way Rebecca was wise. I'll come back to talk about Rebecca. I'll come back to talk about that one. Since I've talked about these people, both Ruth and Boaz, that they are not my relationship goal. I'll come back to talk about Ruth and Rebecca. I mean Rebecca and Isaac. And the part that made me realize that I loved Rebecca. Rebecca first of all I feel like for me she was a wise woman. And then the other thing is how when Rebecca was brought to Isaac, she was told, the Bible said that she comforted Isaac from the death of her mother. She brought comfort. And I don't know, the Bible continues saying that he loved her and Isaac only had one wife. He's the only one with one wife. And I just like that. I like that. I call my love is like my face. I call my love is about my crushing flow. It's not this type of love you have to go in the dark. It's not this type of love, you have to make sure he's already drunk. That's not, I don't, that's why I love the story of Isaac and Rebecca. It's very clean. It's very pure. And the other story that I feel like, yeah, but it's not like Isaac and Rebecca. Actually, I'm not gonna tell another story. You guys let me know, what is your favorite love story from the Bible? I think I'm going to stop today for this episode. I actually made this very long and I even had to record this in 2 parts. And editing, I'll figure it out how I'm gonna handle it. But I really hope that this was enjoyable to you. I pray that the Lord keep you. I pray that the Lord bless you and He continue to make His face shine upon you. May the hand of the Lord continue to be upon you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of today of HolyBirthed. God bless you so much. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know who is your favorite love story from the Bible. Guys, I'm coming back. I'm trying to be more consistent. Pray for me. It's not easy. It is not easy at all. But just keep me in your prayer. And yeah, God bless you all. Bye-bye.